Hello everyone, this is John with How to Polyglot, and I figured the best way to begin the channel would be to start with the prayers of the three main prayers of the Catholic Church, and that would be the Lord's Prayer, the Hail Mary, and the Glory Be. And we'll start with the Lord's Prayer out of honor for our Lord, because He really is the focus of everything that we do, even when we pray to Mary. So I'm going to go ahead and get it started. Let's see. Salutaribus moniti, et divina institutione formati, autemus dicere.
Pater Noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicur in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimitte nobis debita nostra, sicur et nos imittimus debitoribus nostris, et ne nos inducas in tentationem, et libera nos a malo.
Amen. Okay, now I need to make sure that YouTube autoplay doesn't do anything crazy. And get back to the presentation, which I will now use my epic pen. Well, I have to go back to the first slide before I do that. The Lord's Prayer. Great. Okay, my epic pen, I think I got it low enough. Let's use black, and we are going to start translating. Okay. Okay, Pater Noster. That is our Father, but adjectives tend to come after the verbs that the nouns that they modify. So this is our Father. But keep in mind, once again, it's switched. This is actually Father, and this is our. Qui, who, art. This is second person singular. Active indicative as well, but we're just going to stick with this for now. It means thou art or you are. And since we're addressing our Father here, you have to use with this who, you have to use the second person. Not like who is in heaven or something, because that just doesn't work. I mean, because then you're not talking to him, you're treating him like a third person object. So, okay, our Father who art in the heavens. So I will translate that more literally. There aren't really articles in Latin. You usually imply them from here. So this is either like, well, this has to be the heavens because it's plural. So, I mean, but other things like the a or the will just kind of be implied by context. Or sometimes they'll use something like ilus or illa, which is el and la in modern Romance. Who art in the heavens. May your name be sanctified. May it be sanctified your name. Something like that. This deserves like an entire video, honestly, but we don't really have time for that. Let's try to use a different color and explain it. Sanctificare. This is the verb's infinitive form, so this means to sanctify. And So sanctificetur is the... we've got to be able to divide this into morphemes, so I'm going to go down here, all the way to the bottom. Okay, Okay, this is the root, which makes you know it means sanctify. Or, yeah, to sanctify. Okay. Then you divide it, and you put an E here, sanctifice, and this is subjunctive mood. Subjunctive mood marker, or morpheme. We want to talk in things like morphemes because this is the key to basically learning how to conjugate all the Latin verbs and whatnot. So this morpheme here, the E, is the smallest unit that lets you know you're dealing with the subjunctive mood with A, R, E verbs. So the vowel changes to E or it changes to A based on whether this is A or E or I. The E or I verbs will change to A in the subjunctive mood, and all the A, R, E verbs will turn to E in the subjunctive mood. So this is a subjunctive mood marker, which lets you know it's saying it's a wish, like may, in this case, may your name be sanctified. Okay, but the next part, let's divide. Just put the blue there. Divide into tur, which is third person singular passive. And that's the most important thing, passive voice morpheme. So this signifies passive voice. I mean, how many times do I need to write it, really? So I'm just going to erase that. But, like, the TUR signifies third person singular, but also signifies passive voice. So, may your name be made holy. Or may your name be sanctified, is what this is, because it's plural. This is actually the subject, is nomen, and it is in its nominative case, which means that it's the subject of this little phrase here. And then tuum is an adjective, which means yours. And of course, thy. Since we're dealing with the Lord's Prayer, we stick to the archaic. Alright, so that's about all I have to say about that that particular page. So I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to like do what you want with it. And then I'm just gonna hit the trash can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, trash can. Next slide. Adveniat regnum tuum. Very simple. And yet not simple. Adveniat. Which color am I using? Silver blue. Adveniat. This is the same type of phrase as the last one. So this is thy. And this is kingdom. Keep in mind this is the nominative case, so this is a neuter noun. And I forget second declension. Which, if you don't understand technical jargon like this, don't worry too much. I mean, this is the bread and butter of like learning Latin formally. But I can tell you this is the subjective form of the verb, because there's also something like regni, which means of the kingdom. So it's like possessive. And that's the way that they mark it. So they change the way the verb is actually, or the noun is actually inflected in order to show what its function is. And here, its function is subject. So, kingdom thy, and this is may it come. Just by itself, but of course, since the subject is thy kingdom, it means thy kingdom come. But of course, the verb comes first. With subjunctive mood stuff like this, the verb usually comes first, and when the verb's indicative, it usually goes last. But either way, it doesn't really matter, because you can tell based on the inflection of the nouns, the adjectives that modify them, and, you know, the verb. Like, this could be regnum tuum adveniat, and it would still make sense. But typically, subjunctive moods come first. And so let's divide adveniat into its parts again, just like we did with the last verb. Yeah, this is advenire, which advenio is like the first principal part. Advenire, to come towards. Something like that, because there's venire, which is to come, but this has got the ad, which signifies to. So, adveni I'll kind of go over that with yellow. Okay. So what does all this mean? Here's your verb. Stem. So adveni lets you know you're dealing with this verb. Der. Like that's pretty simple. Then this, subjunctive mood. And then this third person active. Third person active morpheme is T. And you will do yourself a favor, like, okay, I'll go ahead and put them here. First person, second, third. I'm going to do a more detailed video on conjugation, but sing in plural. I try to do some kind of abbreviation, it just didn't work. Okay. First person, O. Second person, S. T. Mus. Tis. Inti. So this is something that pertains to I. Let me go ahead and change the color. So if your verb ends in O and the indicative, then it's going to be pertaining to I. This is going to be you. This is he, or she, or it. Anything third person singular. This is we. This is y'all. And I'm just going to do that because it's easier, but it's really just you, plural. And then this is anything that has to do with they. Or anything that could be taken up by they. And in this case, it's third person singular is the kingdom is the subject. It's a third person referent, and so you have adveniat. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, trash. Next article. Woo! This is actually going to be a long video, but if you really want to stick with it, you will learn a lot. So, but this is kind of intermediate level translation. Everyone already knows the Lord's Prayer in English, probably, or in Spanish, or whatever. So the question is really like, do you want to know how it grammatically works? And if you do, you'll stick with the video. which I don't know how long it's going to go, but we're just going to try to go fast, and I'm wasting time telling you how long the video is probably going to end up being. But anyway, here we go. So, what's the subject of this little comma phrase? Voluntas tua. Will thy. And think. This is feminine, so you've got to use the tua instead of tuus or tuum. You know, we've seen a lot of different things here, but this has to agree, and since will is a feminine noun. Of the third declension. You have to use tua, even though, like, it's not tuas, even though you think, you know, it might agree that way, but it doesn't, if you're a beginner. But tua, since it's of an earlier declension, when it modifies this, it goes like that. So, fiat voluntas tua. Fiat means be it done. Or let it be done. Or may it be done. But like I said, I mean, or obviously just be it done is enough in English to communicate the subjunctive. So let's, I can't really, this is a highly irregular. It comes from facere, facio, facere, I think. That could be wrong. Let's take a look. See real quick. Is it facere? Facio. Facere. So it's not facere. Right, but you would think it would be because it conjugates a strange way in the present. But anyway, facere, feci, and then factus. Those are all four of his principal parts. I'm rusty, but these videos are helping me myself. Facio is indicative, and then somehow let's go back to the Wiktionary page, because that will conjugate it for us. I don't know. So it's facio, facis, facit, facimus, facitis, faciunt, even though it's ER. Faciam, facies, faciate, that's also highly irregular. We are looking for, wait, passive future, okay. Passive present, fio, feast, feet. What about fiat? Where is fiat? Fiat's got to be on here somewhere. Ah, that's right. It's a subjunctive one. This is indicative, feet. Whereas the indicative present subjunctive, fiam, fias, fiat, fiamos, fiatis, fiat. So there you go. That's just something you have to memorize. I can't really divide it up for you because it's just not regular. So that saves us some time in that regard, but I did show you how it is conjugated, if you were curious. Now, let's go here. Back to Epic Pen. Panem nostrum. Wait, what? No, this is not the right one. Get me back to slide 4. There we go. Okay. Good grief. Magenta. Fiat voluntas tua sicut, just as. Or as. Just as in heaven and on earth. In is just tricky. It means like in, into, plus the accusative. Put W with accusative in, into, on, and any other, like, it can mean, yeah. This is about it in terms of regular meanings, but it has a lot more than that. So, yeah, this is just as in heaven and on the earth. So, thy will be done as in heaven and also, we're just going to say it's kind of also on earth, or the earth. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's move on. Okay, I'm not going to belabor the whole adjective thing. This comes after it. Panem nostrum. Panis must be neuter in this case because it's using the neuter form. But our bread daily. This is an adverb, which means daily. Quotidian. Can also be spelled like this in some forms of Latin, so it looks more like quotidian. And quotidian is something daily, or just regular. Let me erase this. Our bread daily. Da. Do, daughter. Dedi. Datus. Or datum. To form the way that this one breaks up is simply da, and the way you form an infinitive is you just cross out. You cross out the infinitive, and this is a singular command. Whereas if you want to make a plural command, you go da te. You take off the r and you put this, and that's the plural command morpheme. And there is no singular command morpheme. It's just whatever you get when you take off the RE. Let's add that back. Okay. So this singular command, give to us. Our bread daily, give unto us. Okay, nobis, there, it's nos. Nos is the nominative, nobis is the dative. And dative is, dative is the case which signifies to or for. So give to us, and I have unto here just because it's equivalent. Give unto us today. ODA is hawk DA. This is this day. So sometimes we say give us this day our daily bread, right? And this is just today, but it literally means, if you divide it up, hoc DA, this day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And move on to the next. Woo! This one's pretty big. Okay. Et and forgive, remit. This is once again one of the things where you just take the RE off and it becomes the command. And remit us. We're using dative here because it's like we're the indirect object. Yeah, see, dative is also the indirect object. So like remit unto us our debts. So once again, not to belabor the point, debita is the plural of debitum, which means debt. And nostra is just to agree with make the adjective agree with the noun. As also, see, I think et can mean also as well, but it's just kind of contextual. But sicut et, as also, we, as I told you, nos is the accusative and, well, it's the nominative and the accusative. But here, it's clearly the subject because we've got dimitimus here. So let's go ahead, divide. Dimiti. That lets you know you're dealing with dimitere. And then mus. Second person plural, which lets you know we're dealing with we. So once again, this is not necessary here, but it is in the prayer because it was chosen to be there for emphasis. So nos dimitimus is we forgive or remit. Because if we take this one like for what it really is today in our language, it's remit. So as we remit or forgive debtors our. Okay, we talked about how debitum is debt. Therefore, someone who owes a debt is a debitor. Simple. So just take out this I and you've already got debtor. So, I mean, really, that's not that hard to realize. But then debitor, it goes down into debitoribus, because this is the dative plural. So, I mean, I'm just going through this. I'm giving you a translation. I'm giving you technical jargon. You can look this up on your own and figure it out. But like I said, it's the bread and butter of Latin. Is just knowing the technical terms and what they perform in a sentence. So in this case, this is an indirect object for anyone that's good on English. Indirect object. Circle. And that is also the dative form of noster. To modify it. So it's an indirect object, and the debts is the implied object, but it's just not here. So as we forgive our debtors, 1, 2, 3, 4, and remit us our debts, as also we forgive our debtors. And let us clear the screen. And here we go, the final article. Okay. And no, it's not. Nos, us. Like I said, this is accusative. This is accusative. And it's the same. Nos declines to the point somehow where nos. And I assume this is because they would take nos as a neuter, because a group of people is composed of both genders sometimes. And thus the nominative would be the same as the accusative, which is generally how it is with neuter nouns. It's just that the accusative and the nominative are the same. This is also accusative. Nenos indukas. What's indu? So it's from inducere. And I hope I'm correct about that. But since I'm rusty, I will check just for your benefit. Let's see, move up. Uh-oh. Inducere. Yes, I'm correct. Okay, so it's from inducere. And since, let's see, epic pen, since it's an E verb, which one is the subjunctive mood marker? It's A. So, in order to make a negative command in Latin, sometimes you can use ne or non and the second person subjunctive, which is, by the way, how they do it in Spanish and Italian. Those are the only two I can vouch for because I know perfectly. Oh, also in Portuguese too. So let's take, for example, what this would be in Spanish. The word inducas is more like conducir, of which the first person singular is conduzco, and then the subjunctive mood would be, so to do a negative command for this would be no conduzcas. No conduzcas. Do not lead. So, not us lead into, or into temptation. I said in plus an accusative. This is the accusative of tentatio. Tentatio is the subjective form, and this is the direct object form. But deliver us from evil. Woo! Okay, easy. Libera, once again, follows the rule. Liberare, take off the are, and you've got your singular command. Nos, accusative, us, and then a. This is important because it's ab normally, but in front of a consonant, you drop the B, kind of like our A and an. So, except kind of, yeah, it's a bit like that. It's actually exactly like that. So you take off, it's from evil. And to deliver from evil, this is ablative, if you're interested in the technical case name. Then I'm in. That's about it. I hope you enjoyed this. I don't know how long it went, but like I said, it's well worth it if you're trying to learn Latin. I explained a lot. If you have any questions, please comment and just contact me, and I'll try to clarify as best as I can. But I've done about as well as I could do with my rusty Latin to give you the Lord's Prayer. The Hail Mary is going to be like a 5-minute video probably, and thank God for that. But this one is the longest of the 3 chief prayers, so I'll probably combine the Hail Mary and the Glory Be because they're both so short. Anyway, thanks for sticking with this long if you did. If you know Latin already, like a decent amount of it, this is review, and you are probably just here for the sing-along to help improve your listening comprehension for like a Latin Mass, for example. But besides that, God bless you for watching. Thank you. See you next time, where we'll be doing the Hail Mary and the Glory Be.